Hello students, welcome back to our channel. So today we are going to continue with our expressions, and today we are going to talk about variables. What are variables? So variables are nothing but the named locations of where the value is stored. Consider, so for our examples we will be more talking about 8-bit operating systems, so it is easy. So consider a statement saying int age is equal to 0. I can just say 5. Okay, so this is the statement we are initializing. This is an integer, age is equal to 5. So how this is stored in this one? This is called variable actually. This is the variable. How it is stored in the memory? Let's see. So considering an 8-bit system, right? We have 8 bits. 0, 0, correct? 5 is, it is 1, 0, 1. This is 8-bit system, right? This is how the 5 will be there. Okay, for 16-bit, this will be a 16-bit number. For 32-bit, this will be a 32-bit number. 32 bits it will be 7. Okay, now see, for integer, for a 8-bit, you are understanding there is 8 bits are there. It will be stored with the 8 bits, and this age will be pointing to this. Here it will be pointing to this. Okay, so this is how an int a is equal to 5 is stored in the memory for the system to understand. Okay, so when we initialize int age, what it will do is it will create a storage for 8 bits for an integer age. The age is always going to point to this. When I assign a value to this, it will store the value. Okay, that's why we are using integers. That's the reason we are going to use these data types to make the system understand how many bits are to be stored. So this is how the variables are stored. Whatever your data is stored, and this is mainly called as the variable. This is variable. Variable is a named location in memory. Right. Okay. So this is the name location in memory where this file is stored, and it is for how we can access it using the age. Okay. Okay. So this is the variables. So there are 3 types of variables: local, formal, and global. Okay. So what are local, formal, and global? Let's see. Let's understand it. So let me create a simple function. Hash include stdio dot h. Okay. Now we are going to call a simple function, right? So let's call a simple function called int main. Okay. This is going to start here. So this is a simple addition program. So int a, first number, b, the second number, res cult, result the third integer. So here 3 a b result box will be created. 8 bits box will be created. Okay. Now what I will do is I will scan the first value, percentage of d, and store it in a. Okay. I will scan the second value, from the keyboard and store it in B. Okay, now result is equal to A plus B. Now I will print the result. Okay, so this is a simple addition program. See what we are doing? We are declaring three variables A, B, and result. First, taking from keyboard. First, we are taking the what we call the A variable. Then we are taking the B variable value, and then we are adding it, and then we are printing it. Okay. Here you can see these integers are there, right? Int A, B, and result are within this main program. Okay, and they are within this curly brackets. These are accessible within only within this curly brackets. Hence, they are called the local variables. Okay, okay. So consider you have a scenario where you want to use this multiple times in your program. So for that, what I will do is I will create a function called int add, where I will say int. It requires two variables, int x, comma int y. Okay. What it have another variable called result. Okay. Int result is equal to x plus y, return res result. Okay. So here what I can do is instead of result a plus b, I can call this function add a comma b. Okay. You have to make sure that you are passing integer to integer. Okay. So this is how the if separate function, if I create a separate function, this is how the functions are called. And here this result res is a local variable to this within this parenthesis. Okay, and now you can see we have sent this a and b here, right, as an x and y. Here the a and b value will be sent to x and y. This is a, this is b. Okay, and int result is equal to x and y. Okay, because we don't know while we initializing, we don't know what is the value, right? So we are sending it as a and b, and it will come the result. So these two are which we are sending from a function, right? From function we are sending. These are called formal variables. Okay, these are called formal variables. Now, what happens now is initially we had only three variables displayed here, a, b, and result. Now with this function also we have another x, y, res memory being allocated. Okay. Instead of doing this, what we can do is if we want to save the memory, we can move this a x and y. Okay. Or what we can do is we can directly make this result as a global variable. So consider it's making a global result res. Res is equal to this, and then here what I will do is Instead of int, I will remove this int. It will be only res is equal to x plus y and return res. Okay. Now here once I call this function z a comma b. It will be the result will be stored. Instead of calling this, instead of using the result, what I can do is I can just call a add ab. Okay, and I don't want, as I don't want this result is already global, I don't want it to return anything. I can say void add int x comma y a comma b, and instead result here I can just result res. So I don't want this result also. Okay, now see what happens. We didn't, the res is a global, so we got the memory here. This res is not required and this result is eliminated. Okay, and this is declaring the any variable declared after the hash includes are called global variables, and they are accessible throughout the program. Okay, these variables are local, available within this program. These variables are formed, are passed from main function to the function, and these are accessible only this. This is global variable declared outside any function after the includes, and it is accessible throughout the program. Okay, those are the three types of variables. Okay, now let's talk about identifiers. What are identifiers? So identifiers, this is the same program we use, and where the res is declared as a global variable. So you can see whatever input numbers, right? This is for input numbers. It's A, P represent input numbers. These are also, we are sending it here. So these are also input numbers. This is an output. It's output number. So these are the numbers identification. Right here, how many is a simple calculator addition example, right? Whatever the input you are putting, maybe you are 5 plus 3, but here we are identifying it as int A and B. So these are identifiers. Variables are also identifiers. Okay, and apart from these variables, we have function names and main. These are also identifiers. Okay, now there are some rules in writing these identifiers. All the identifiers can start with underscore or a character. Okay, it can be anything, A to Z, anything. It can caps or small. This is a precondition. Only it can start from this. So, for example, A is holds good, A holds good, but if something 0 A doesn't holds good. If it is a 0 A doesn't holds good. Just a 0, it doesn't holds good. Numbers are not allowed at the beginning, but you can use them in the second phase. If you say A 0 P, this is a valid one. Okay, it cannot start with numbers. Numbers are special characters, but it can include special character. Okay, so these are the identifier rules, and these identifiers are case sensitive. That means your res and res are both different values. You can use both in a single program. Okay, in single block you can use both. Both will be represented different because in ANSI values, both capital and small letters are represented different numbers. Okay, and special characters like ampersand. Okay, these are not allowed in the identifier names. Okay, So these are some invalid ones. Okay. Now there are two types of identifier names. First one is there are two types of identifiers: external and internal. External identifiers, internal identifiers. Whatever we are written here, these are internal because these are all written in a single file. So file 1. Okay, this is a file 1.c. So within the same file, if any things are written, those are internal. So this is within the file. Okay. Now, as a program gets complicated, managing in a single file, it is not a feasible solution, right? So we have multiple files, and multiple files will be linked around it. So there will be another file 2, file 3. So they will be linked. They will be linked using the variables. Okay, it will be declared, and those declared variables are called external. Link used to link outside file. Okay, these are identifiers. Identifiers are nothing but the name variables. Okay, mostly variables and all the names. These are basically names. Identifier, they are identification. Basically names given to identify stuff. Okay, variables, all variables comes under identifiers, but all identifiers are not variables. But even function names and these are variables, and you got the rules, right? It should either start with underscore or a letter. Okay, it cannot start with a digit, and you cannot use the special characters. Okay.